We do have a couple of guests joining us here in the program this morning. Talk about a gathering that is coming up here next week, as a matter of fact. It's kicking off there on Monday. Runs Tuesday and Wednesday. It's the Spirit of Our Sisters gathering. It's to honor murdered and missing Aboriginal women throughout this country. And joining us here on the program today, we do have Stephanie Harpe. Good morning, Stephanie. Nice of you to come on down this morning.
Thank you.
Wearing a different hat here today. And also, I guess the founder and CEO of the event, Karen McCarthy, is with us as well. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in here today. Now, this gathering, like I said, is to honor murdered, missing Aboriginal women, Indigenous women, and girls across this country. And something that you've been very passionate about ever since, you know, this broke, goes a few years back already. But like we were talking here just before the event, we're saying that this is a story now that seems to be just getting put on the back burner, you know, so to speak, when it comes to it being in the news, where it used to be front and center, and now it's, you know, sort of like dwindling down over there. But obviously, with yourself, you felt that need and passion to keep this going and also to come together as a group to bring awareness of this issue again.
Yes, I started this initiative really pounding the pavement last year when the issue was front and center in the media, like you said, Wally. But I found that as I was doing my work in other areas and other events, I was paying more attention to those and to the messages that the chiefs were bringing to the government, to our people, as a result, as well as Idle No More and the different vigils and walks. And these have been going on for many years. There's been groups across the country that have done these for 10, 15 years. And you didn't hear about them in the media. But the past year and a half, 2 years, it's been really coming out, which is a great thing, I think. It's putting more focus on the issue. It's bringing more leaders front and center. It's bringing it to the government. It's even bringing it to the international level at the UN. And so, as I was going through my research, going through talking with people, I really started to pay more attention, even though I knew this was happening. But when you start to pay more attention and you really start to listen and you really start to hear people's stories, you start, as an Aboriginal person, you start to have that empathy, you start to really feel, and you start to want to do things because we are all affected by it. And so it's been there for me for a long time. But what really spurred me to really, really move and take action on this is I did get angry about something. And sometimes people say anger is what really makes us make changes or moves us to action. And last year, I'm pretty sure a lot of people remember this because it was in international news when those 300 women, or actually girls, went missing in an African state, and they were kidnapped and they were taken away by these rebels, and some were perhaps killed. A lot of them were married off. Some escaped, but it was international news. And when our government, the Conservative government, stepped in and said, we're going to send aid to help this country to look for these women, that really upset me, because here in our own country, we had many leaders across Canada advocating for a national, like an inquiry into our murdered and missing women. There's an RCMP report that went out last year, and in it came with this research, and it proved that there are over 1,200 murdered and missing women, and it had all this information. That's just the RCMP side. There's no statistics that are made public on the urban statistics on our people, on our women and our girls. So that really upset me, and I thought, and it goes to a lot of the other issues too. It goes to our child welfare, the lack of appropriate funding, education. So all these issues there, as I was saying earlier when we were talking before the interview, Wally, is these social issues are interrelated. But when you have something like this, where our women are going murdered and missing at such an alarming rate, it it really, it's can change you, because, especially being an Aboriginal woman. And when you look and you think, like, you're more at risk when you walk out the door, it really hits home to you.
Yeah.
And I have a daughter. I have a granddaughter. And I think about what would happen if that happened to my daughter or to my granddaughter. And I have lots of friends. I've met lots of people like Stephanie who've gone through this experience, and this is my way of helping. This is my way of doing something to keep that momentum going. Like you said, I know we have noticed there's been a decline. That doesn't mean there's less women going murdered and missing. In fact, we just talked about this today. There's another case that has come forward just recently.
Yeah, and this has also become an issue with, like, on the election campaign. A lot of people out there thinking, okay, well, what is this particular party going to do about it? Are they going to bring together a national inquiry? So, I mean, it's out there. I mean, it affects everybody, especially with this upcoming election too.
For sure.
Yeah.
It does.
Now, the event itself is kicking off here next week. I was looking at your itinerary of some of the folks that you got coming. It's, for the event being held for the first time, you've got a pretty impressive lineup of guests that are going to be taking part in the event.
Yes, it is impressive, but it just goes to show that this issue is really important. And as soon as people knew what the event and the vision meant, they, without a doubt, they just said, yes, whatever way I can help, whatever way you need me. And there's people who adjusted their schedules to come to this event. And first time event, and we're planning on doing it for as long as we can to bring people together and to gather. But for example, like Dr. Gabor Mate, he committed to no matter when or where it was, he had committed once he read what the vision and mission was. And we were very honored to have him. We're very honored to have Mrs. Universe, Ashley Collingbull Burnham, attend. Her pageant platform is on violence against women and prevention of that, as well as her mom, Lisa Ground. She's Mrs. North American Classic, and her platform's the same. So I feel so honored to have these two ladies, mother and daughter, awesome role models in the community from Enoch, supporting and endorsing this event and coming to speak and share their stories. And I think it's wonderful. I think it's motivating, and I think people will really, really relate to that, because that's part of the issue of MMIW.
Yeah, and just looking as well, you do have Rona Ambrose, the MP. Or is that
Actually, Rona Ambrose wasn't able to make it. She initially had expressed interest, but we do have Minister Shannon Phillips, with the status of women. That's just recently been changed, as of 2 days ago.
Oh, excellent. Also, I noticed, Stephanie's here as well, Stephanie Harpe, and everybody knows Stephanie from her music, but this morning, Stephanie is wearing a different hat, because this is something as well that is near and dear to you, and it had actually a personal impact on yourself.
Yes. I've been talking about this for about maybe 5 years now, because I was, on my healing journey, which is still not ending. It's my mother's murder in 1999, like I've always said, is like a ghost in the room. It's always with me. So I need to share her story. I need to share how I healed. I need to share how it affected my life, how I have a daughter, I have a granddaughter. This affects me very deeply, because I my mom did not survive. To educate, to share. I'm here today. I've, made a success out of myself trying to, trying to heal others through this story as well, because every time I talk about it, it heals myself as well. So, I just wanted people to pay attention
Yeah.
This is very, very important. They have no idea. I'm very lucky to be here today.
Mm-hmm. You obviously had, like you mentioned, this happened back in '99, but it's only just been in the past few years that you've actually had been able to come out and share what had happened.
Yes. I had to start my healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to be a better mother, a better wife, a better friend, a better family member. So I saw out counseling. I needed to go talk to someone other than my wonderful husband about this. You know what I mean? And my close, immediate family that I depend on, that support me. I needed to get another opinion, and I went to a wonderful place, and I met a wonderful lady, and so this is. Helped me. It's empowered me. It's helped me look at things in a different, more positive way. Because the way back then, how I dealt with it was drugs and alcohol. I had addictions then. Yeah. I refused to feel anything when she died, and to be here today alive and well and healthy and able to help others, I think that's what my mom would have wanted.
Yeah, and also to have the success that you've had with your career as well, musically as well.
Oh, my goodness.
It's really helped.
I've been so blessed. My husband Jeff and my kids, my band, my family, the support is overwhelming, and to to have 3 jobs and to have success in them. Yeah. I've been very, very blessed, but I've worked very, very hard.
Yeah.
I've worked very hard. To be an actress, to be a casting agent, to be a award-nominated recording artist. It's not easy with a family. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we're taking these big steps right now. We're doing these big things. So for me to be a part of this, and to bring my talents and my connections to this. Well, as soon as I heard from Karen, I was on board. As soon as I heard from Sherry, I was on board.
Yeah.
There's nothing I wouldn't do for this gathering.
Yeah. Stephanie Harpe is with us here this morning, along with Karen McCarthy, the CEO of Spirit of Our Sisters, a gathering that's happening in Edmonton next week. Now, Karen, like Stephanie just said, she will be there. She'll be sharing her story. So folks that'll be coming down will hear, her involvement in all this and the reasoning behind it. But then we're going to hear a lot from others as well over those 3 days.
Yes, we have targeting different activities and different types of way people can be involved. Mm-hmm. And we're starting off with a round dance, a memorial round dance for any family who wants to be involved, and it's going to be at the Enoch Recreation Center. We're having a pipe ceremony, a feast, and the memorial ceremonial piece of the round dance as well, with a giveaway. And initially when we started planning this, the cultural component of it was really, really critical, and has always been a part of the planning and the whole process of this gathering. We've done sweats, we've done Sundance offerings, we've done a pipe ceremony, and we will do pipe ceremonies every day of this gathering when we started on Saturday. So officially, it starts on the Saturday with the memorial round dance. It goes into a sweat, which anyone's invited to, any of the planning or volunteers, committee members. And then on Monday, it starts with registrations, and we actually are really, really proud to have the Globe and Mail as the title media sponsor, and they're doing a panel meeting that they are really proud to have come to our gathering. So what the Globe and Mail has done is they have a long-term commitment to creating a database for MMIW, and they formed a national panel that's made up of members across Canada. And for the first time, they're meeting face-to-face, and we are hosting them at the gathering. So they will be there throughout the whole event, and this meeting is really critical. They would like to network with families, and we've invited several families, and families have come forward, and we're still inviting families to come, and families who who have members who, women and girls who have gone murdered and missing are invited to come. So if you're interested, you know anyone who's wanting to come, please call me and let me know. So we go into the event that way, but the next day is when it really starts with the ceremonies and the opening ceremonies. We have support from Chief Craig McInnow from the AFN. He's the Alberta Regional Chief. He's been supportive of this right from the beginning when I started planning last year as the Chief of Ermineskin. And he's moved into his new role, and he's going to be there for the whole time. We have Chief Billy Morin, who's been supportive of this as well. When I had first approached him about this when he was a councillor, and he's now the Chief of Enoch. We've got two co-hosting nations that have supported this event right from the beginning of this year, Onion Lake Cree Nation as well as Alexander First Nation. So they'll both be there representing their nations. We've got Rose Labacan, who's been a huge advocate for MMIW for several years. We also have Muriel Stanley Vane coming to do opening remarks. We've got keynote speakers like Dr. Gabor Mate and, like I said earlier, Mrs. Universe, Ashley Callingball. And we've got people who are on the ground level in different parts of the country, like Beverly Jacobs. She was the president of NWAC, the Native Women's Association of Canada. And so she's coming to speak. She's been doing this work for years. Robin Bourgeois from the East Coast is coming as well. She's a very huge advocate, and her work is all about teaching and educating against violence against women.
Yeah. Well, it seems like it's going to be a fantastic event there. If anybody wants to get involved, Karen, how can they get a hold of you? Where could they go to register, or could they come down and register that day? What's the process there?
Well, there's several ways. We have a website, Spirit of Our Sisters, sosgathering.ca. You can register online. You can download the registration form, fax or email it to me. You can do a walk-in registration, which I don't advise because it's hard on the volunteers.
Yeah.
But, if you don't know if you're coming and then last minute you decide to come, you're welcome to come and register right at the event, September 28th to the 30th. It's at the Fantasyland Hotel. And it was originally actually at the River Cree Marriott in Enoch, but unfortunately due to the venue closing and not being able to open in time, we had to move it to the Fantasyland, and thank goodness they were able to accommodate us. And we have all our event is still in one location, and they're very supportive of the smudging and the pipe ceremony that we will do every morning. They're open, they're allowing us to do that, and that was one thing that the elders ensured that I make sure that happens before we moved it, was that we were able to continue with the ceremonial piece, which thankfully they're accommodating us. So other ways too, we have social media like everyone else does, and we're trying to stay up with the times. So we have a Facebook, Spirit of Our Sisters, and a Twitter account, SOS Gathering.
All right. Well, many ways of getting in contact. And again, probably better to register early. And like you'd mentioned as well, there's the event that's happening on the weekend as well, which is not on here, but it's the round dance that's happening over there in Enoch as well. So come on out and be a part and support this great cause. I want to thank you both for coming in this morning, and also sharing a little bit of your story there, Stephanie, but people could hear the whole story at the event.